It's a phrase that people use in the United States sometimes, and it doesn't mean going to your job and working as a construction worker or going to your job and working as a person in a bank, but it means doing your personal growth work. So we all have issues that are patterns in our life or our relationship that cause us anxiety, or they cause us to be depressed.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and connect. Today we're joined by Jack Bohannan, a certified Somatica relationship coach from Bogota. Jack's unique approach blends experiential techniques with heartfelt conversations, helping others navigate the complexities of attachments and relationship. With a rich background in exploring gender dynamics and a personal journey of healing, he brings a thoughtful perspective to our discussion. So let's settle in and discover the wisdom that has inspired Jack on his path. Can you tell us your name, what's your favorite quotes or philosophies?
Yes. My name's Jack Bohannan, and I'm a relationship coach. And I've had a lot of difficulties in my life, and some of them have come from me. Some of them have been inside me and some of the things that I needed to sort out. So my most important quote or little piece of wisdom from my life is to do your work. It's really important to do our therapy work or our personal growth work and confront some of our problems. Yeah, do your work. So by work, I mean like therapy or personal growth. And I bet that people who are listening to your podcast are doing that they want to be better. They want to handle their problems in a direct way.
When you say do your work, I have a lot of questions that are just running through my head, but I'm going to take it one step at a time. When you say do your work, what do you mean? Because now I'm already working, I'm already doing stuff. What's so special about doing your work? What kind of work? Is there a different kind of work that I should be doing?
Yeah, great question. It's a phrase that people use in the United States sometimes, and it doesn't mean going to your job and working as a construction worker or going to your job and working as a person in a bank, but it means doing your personal growth work. So we all have issues that are patterns in our life or our relationship that cause us anxiety, or they cause us to be depressed, or they cause us to fight in our relationships. And when we look inside of us and look at what those problems are, we can make them better and have more freedom in our life, for sure, that we can have a happier life by being better people. So when we talk about doing our work, my work would be my inner problems and all the tendencies that I have to limit myself, to limit my happiness, the things that I have to do in my life to become better, to become maybe less anxious, less depressed, less dependent on other people, better able to connect with other people. So when we talk about doing our work, it's like an inner process more so than anything outside of us.
Yeah. How far back did you come to this realization?
How far back did I come to the realization?
Yeah, when did you come to this realization?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Okay, you said you've had a lot of difficulties in life and stuff, and one of the quotes that you believe strongly is "do your work," right?
Yes.
So the question I'm asking now is, when was this? Like, was this when you were pretty young, like 5 years, 6 years old, when you're like, oh, I should do my work, or was this like, when you were pretty advanced, like in your 20s? You understand? So I want to know, like, when did this turning point of this realization come that I need to do my work, I need to deal with my issues?
Yeah, it started really early for me in life. So I was probably 17, 18, and I was really depressed at that age. I think that pain, when we're in a lot of pain, emotional distress, when we have pain, that makes us want to grow. It makes us want to change. So I had a lot of pain and mental health struggles early in my 20s, and it was really difficult. So it made me want to address some of that, made me want to solve those problems and be better. So I don't think we change very much unless we're in pain. It always is a driver to see our limitations, to see the ways that we're hurting ourselves.
Yeah. For this quote now, it's do your work. Is this quote, can this quote be subject to misinterpretation?
Yes.
Okay,
sure.
What would that be?
I mean, maybe it's something your boss says to you. Maybe it's something your manager says, do your work, Sure. That could be a subject to misinterpretation. Another more sophisticated way of thinking about it, a deeper way of thinking about it, would be that some people try to do their work, or they do therapy just to look better, just to get to a point where they feel like their ego is supported, just to get to a point where they're comfortable and they're not able to consider their larger impact. I think when we really look at ourselves, we want to be better people for other people, and because we have more impact on the world, like what you're doing with this podcast, that you're probably benefiting from all these people who come on and they have things to say, but you're also helping the world because you're spreading this message to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, before we even in the quote itself, it took me. I had to like wait for you to explain for me to like get the concept and your idea. Do you think that we can, during the course of maybe the next 1 minute to 2 minutes, do you think we can kind of like refashion the quotes? Because I feel like it's a very powerful quote, but it's one that you need to add context to it. You need to add some sticky notes for people to get what you're saying. You get?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll change the quote.
Okay.
I'll change the quote.
Okay.
Let's make the quote, go to therapy.
Ooh.
Go to therapy would be one way to phrase the quote. Or get right with God. That'd be a fine way to phrase the quote. That's the same meaning. It's do the scary things that make you a better person.
Exactly. That's the quotes. Because the first two examples you gave, you were, how do I put it? Do your work. When you say we do your work, it was all encompassing. Those two examples you gave, they were part of it. You understand? When you started giving these examples, I was like, you are specializing, you are niching down. We've diverted from the main umbrella that was covering everything, because do your work, when you explain, covers a lot of things, including relationship, personal issues, and amongst many other things. You get, and now you say do the scary things that makes you a better person. Wow,
exactly. Yeah,
do the scary things that make you a better person.
If that phrase works better, absolutely. It's so powerful to do the hard things, to do the scary things that make us better people. And a lot of that happens in relationship. So I've, of course, struggled in relationship like a lot of people. And doing my work or doing the scary things has made it so that I can connect more with my lovers, with my friends, family. So that's the work that I want to bring into the world, is looking at how people can connect more by doing some of those scary things that happen in relationship.
You professionally, you're a relationship coach, right?
Yes, I'm a relationship coach, and I especially work with people who have attachment issues. So we all have a way of relating to other people, and sometimes it's funky. Sometimes we have a strange way of relating to other people based on the things that we learned when we were kids. So if we look at those things and start to sort them out, some of the patterns that we might find ourselves in relationships start to change. And that's what I offer clients.
Yeah. I needed to like confirm from you verbally that you're a relationship coach, because the follow-up question I'm going to ask has to do with relationship. Over the course of years that you've been practicing as a relationship coach, what would you say are the common scary things that people need to deal with in order to become a better person or to have a better relationship? Now, I know you can't give, like, how do I put it now? Just like generally, statistically, based on, what are the most common?
The thing that people have in common about their relationship problems is that a lot of us don't think that we're worthy or deserving. So when we have self-worth issues, when we feel like we don't deserve good things, that we're not worth very much, then we start to seek that in our partner, to try to get affirmation from our partner in one way or another. We're trying to confirm good things about us through using relationship, where maybe if my partner is very impressive and sexy, then I'm a good person. Or maybe I need a lot of attention from my partner to feel okay. Or maybe I'm afraid that my partner will find out that I have this feeling of being bad and having less worth. So I avoid connection with them entirely because I don't want them to see and find out that I have these difficult feelings.
Oh, wow. Okay. Uh, the first one, the first example you gave is when we find a way to project the issues instead of looking internally and say that we have a problem that we need to deal with. We find a way to say, okay, this person is not like this. If this person was like this, it would have be like this. You understand? So we look at the different people around us that's making everything so hard, and we'll point fingers and we'll point fingers, and that way we are always the good guy. Yeah. Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
Yes, we point fingers at everyone else. My partner is a problem. My last partner is a problem. The partner before that was a problem. All my family, they're problems too. Some of my friends are assholes. And the real issue is ourself. It's like I'm the common thing in all those relationships. I'm bringing myself and my issues to every relationship that I'm in, and especially the romantic relationships. They really show us what is deep inside us and what our difficulties are. So when we do the scariest thing is looking at the feelings of not being worth very much. When we have self-worth issues or some deep problem, sometimes we don't even know it. All we know is that we feel anxious a lot or we feel depressed. And when we start to look at why we don't feel worthy and have the experiences of really connecting with other people, then we're able to resolve those things. We stop those problems from happening and we're able to connect better with other people. The scary things aren't so scary anymore when we look at them, and everything in our life works a little bit better.
Yeah. One of the, it's like the major step is, and I'm focusing on the first reason now. The major step is to identify and to see that we have scary issues to deal with. So for me, the question is, do you have like a process or like, framework for someone to just like walk through and say, oh yeah, I have issues to deal with? Because I think in meds, the first process is diagnosis before you even do any other thing. You need to know if the person is sick, what's wrong with the person before you can start saying, okay, we need to deal with it this way. So what can people, the listeners like do, if they are listening, to just quickly run through and say, okay, what are my scary issues?
Yes. So my clients usually have issues where their relationships feel difficult, and a lot of them have anxious attachment where they find that their partner isn't very emotionally available and their partner pulls away, and they have one of these partners after another. They keep meeting people who are distant from them, who don't really want to connect. And that puts them in a position of reaching towards their partner and wanting more love, wanting more connection, and sometimes pushing their partner away. So they're aware that that's going on. And a lot of them are familiar with attachment theory already, which is that concept of how we relate to people was caused by things that happened when we were kids. So many of them are already aware of that. They've self-diagnosed as having some relationship issues. And the process that I offer them is re-experiencing relationship. So when we have new experiences of relationship, whether it's with friends or a good partner or a coach like me, we're able to have a new way of thinking about relationship and look at some of those difficult things, those scary things, in a way that's safe and controlled. So my process is engaging in a relationship with that client. We're in an actual relationship together where we're practicing things like boundaries or receiving kindness or being seen when somebody really understands you and you feel safe with them, then those scary things can come out in a way that feels safe and manageable. So I engage clients in a relationship, and that's really healing.
Well,
It's strange. It's a strange thing. It's not normal therapy, and it's really effective. It's based on the Somatica method, which is a style of relationship coaching where you're actually experiencing things in the moment with your coach. And it can even be flirty. I work with women a lot because it's powerful to work across the gender divide. When people have this romantic or sexual charge with each other, when there's attraction or there is genuine care, then it's much more powerful than going to see a therapist who's like a doctor, who's cold, who's distant. I think it's a great way to do your work and look at those scary things. And more therapy is going to be like that, where you're really experiencing a friendship and a connection with your coach that's authentic rather than clinical, rather than like going to a doctor. It's more embodied, it's more real. And in this case, it's very real. And I love it. I think it's so cool.
Yeah. Earlier on, we started with do your work, and then we moved on to do the scary things that makes you a better person. That itself is just like resounding in my head. And at the end of it, we write a Jack Bohannan, do the scary things that makes you a better person. Thanks for dropping that. Now I want us to zoom out a bit, right? We kind of zoomed in and we drilled down on relationship, which is very, very important, right? It's one of the key pillars of personal improvement and personal development, and the relationships we build, and how deep and how what's the quality of the relationship we have. But I want us to zoom out a bit, right? You said do the scary things that makes us a better person, right? I just want you to share one or two instances in your life or things that scared the hell out of you when you wanted at that time in the moment you were able to like find the courage to do them, and eventually it's kind of made you become a better person.
That's a great question. Thank you. I like how you're making it personal.
Yeah.
And I can think of some scary things. For me, for a long time, connecting with people at all was scary. Letting people see how I felt was really frightening. So I was shy. I was avoidant. I didn't let my partner very close to me. I wasn't very open. I didn't talk about how I felt very much, but I did keep doing the scary things and the therapy. And I remember one time there was a therapist who was really warm and really personal with me, where it was just about connecting in the moment with another person. It wasn't about thinking about the past or figuring out the past. And I remember sitting in his office during a session, and I felt like he was seeing me and understanding me, and that I was safe. And I started to cry. It was so powerful. It was like this big expansion of warmth in my chest. I was feeling love in this very direct way. And I started to cry because it was like so much. It was all of this emotion coming up, and it felt like such a relief and so beautiful. And it was towards the end of the session. It was almost at the end. And he didn't say anything about it. He watched me choking back tears. He knew that I was having this big experience, and he was smart enough and skillful enough to know that talking about it right then would have been too much for me, and I needed to not talk about it. So he watched me have this beautiful experience that was significant, but he also didn't step inside of it. He didn't intrude. He didn't do something that would feel like too much. And he just let me have that alone. So I appreciate it. I really appreciate that guy. And,
Cool.
The other scary experience that I think is really significant, especially for men, is walking up to a woman and saying, "Hi, I think you're interesting. I think you're pretty. I like you. Would you like to spend time with me?" That is so hard. That is so hard for guys to do because you're putting yourself out there. You're putting your ego on the line. She might say no. She might say, "Fuck off." She might say like, "No, I don't want to spend time with you." And then you just walk away feeling like a fool. So all guys have this feeling of some anxiety in that situation. And I love it in one way. I'm in a relationship now, but I've really appreciated that moment because it's kind of scary. It's a little bit like bullfighting. It feels like something really scary could happen. So it's like the guys who fight with a cape, a flag, and a bull. And it really puts you inside of yourself. It really puts you in the moment. So watching the emotions that come up around that, watching the scary things come up around that, all the issues of self-worth, all the insecurities that we all have, they all come in that moment of asking another person to like you, to say, hey, do you want to hang out with me? Do I seem cool and pretty to you? Because you seem cool and pretty to me.
I mean, sometimes I think recently today, I had a thought just cross my mind. And I was like, all you do in your life, never reject yourself, no matter how much people reject you, but don't be the one to reject it. Sometimes before we even open our mouth to even approach the lady that we really, really like, we've already rejected ourselves, we've already told ourselves no. That who are you? You're not even good looking. What we list all the things that will make us reject, and then we tell ourselves, will you sit down there? What are you doing? Want to approach what? And for me, I was like, we are like, of all the opinion that matters in life, is one of the most important is us. And so we should not be the one rejecting ourselves. And it's funny how I had that thought. And now you talked about, you gave an example of such. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
It's
much.
interesting. It is rejecting ourselves in that moment. Like we're saying, God, I'm probably not good enough. I'm probably not good enough to be accepted by this other person. Or like we'll be like, God, I kind of have a headache right now. I don't want to go say hi to this woman, but I know that this is the only opportunity to say so. Or I spilled something on my shirt. I have coffee on my shirt. I can't say hi to her now. But it's self-rejection, absolutely. And really, it's not our place to determine whether somebody else is going to like us. And I don't want to deny someone the opportunity to connect with me if they do want to connect with me.
Thank you so much for your favorite quotes and for sharing some of your personal stories regarding those quotes. I really, really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Before we round up, where can listeners learn more and check out the things you're into and things?
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. If your listeners are interested in learning more about attachment issues and the things that might be wrong in their relationship and finding better ways to connect with their partner and stop fighting, they can go to my website and check out a webinar show that I have. The website is polarityunscripted.com/heal. And that's kind of hard to spell. I don't know if you're able to put it in the show notes or not. polarityunscripted.com/heal. So, yeah.
Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.